It's low tide on Tarawa, the main atoll of the island nation of Kiribati. Tiatata and his 3 sons have just a few hours before the water returns.
There are no stones on the beach anymore. That's why we have to go far out. We need to get coral because the sea is flooding our house.
The home of Tiatata and his family of 12 is under threat. 10 years ago, they started building a wall made of coral.
When the water comes all the way up to here and there's a strong wind, that's when it's worst. The water bashes against our wall and sprays over our whole house. We have to build a higher wall so the water doesn't flood our home. In the past, our wall kept breaking because it was only this high. Now it's higher and more stable. It protects us from the sea. Many walls collapse at high tide, but we're lucky. Our wall's still standing.
In just 30 years, Tiatata's wall could cease to offer any protection from the sea. The island state of Kiribati is one of the lowest lying countries on Earth. The narrow, unprotected atolls in the South Pacific are on average only 2 meters above sea level. The nation consists of 33 such atolls spread out between Hawaii and Australia. More than half its 100,000 residents live on the Tarawa atoll, but for how much longer? Climate change is threatening the people of Kiribati. Sea levels are rising, storm surges and severe tropical storms are flooding the sparsely populated country with increasing frequency. For the locals, it's a question of survival. Climate change has national priority for the government of Kiribati. Choi Yeating has been the official climate commissioner since 2010. He's alarmed by the changes caused by climate change.
It is worrying that, the community has to live in these conditions, I would imagine, there would be a lot of sanitation problems, a lot of contamination of their drinkable water. Right now, we don't really have a king tide, or a rising sea, level during this period. But imagine when it does come, and that little seawall there is fully, submerged by water.
One day, the people of Kiribati will have to leave their country. The government has already purchased land on Fiji to provide them with refuge. Every day, Tatawa and his 3 brothers have to carry their fishing boat into the sea. It's hard work.
As you can see, this area's flooded. All this from here to all the way back there used to be beach. Now the beach is gone and the rocks are washed up. That's why we have to move our boat every day. Otherwise it would get smashed.
The family defies the rising sea levels with a coral wall that resembles a fortress.
The water is rising and rising. Eventually the land over there will disappear. But we'll stay and float like an island in the water.
Tatawa and his family have become a symbol of Kiribati's fight for survival. His mother, Muangtaya, and her granddaughter Anna often reminisce about the times before they were affected by climate change.
20 years ago, the sea was far away. We were safe back then, even at high tide. The water only reached this far. We used to have a lot of trees. Our land was much greener. We had no idea we'd have to live like this one day.
The access road has been flooded for years. The family can only leave their property by boat.
When I was little, life here was really good. There were lots of trees under which we played hide and seek. I've heard that other countries are causing climate change, but I don't hate those people.
I see it differently. The Western countries are doing many things to cause climate change. They're to blame.
All I can do is ask them to stop.
The sea is increasingly devouring unprotected tracts of land in the middle of the South Pacific.
This isn't a safe place for the future. When we have a high tide and a big storm, the water smashes into the sea wall and sprays over the top.
During storm surges, which occur once a month these days, the people of Kiribati are completely defenseless against the forces of nature.
I'm scared that the water will continue to rise. Maybe we'll have to leave here one day and live elsewhere if climate change gets worse.
A mangrove forest in the south of Tarawa. Their knots of thin, strong roots make these tropical trees the perfect protection against soil erosion. With a group of young people, climate activist Vasiti Tebamare wants to plant mangroves on the beach at Ambo during low tide.
We'll plant 15 rows.
You have to plant the mangroves a hand's width apart.
Vasiti has been organising a growing number of such volunteer planting events.
Okay, these are the seeds from the mangroves, and we pick them up, and then these are the ones that we use to plant them, and then they grow again. We take 3 in case, because when we plant them, the waves will come and maybe 2 will be flooded away. At least 1 will stay and will live. So that's why we take 3 all the time.
The people of Tarawa have already planted more than 50,000 mangroves on the beaches of the atoll. The young people here have grown up with climate change. They're scared.
Sea level rising is very important impact to our island. And I just don't want to see my island get drowned under the sea.
Yes, in my village where I live, most of the houses are destroyed by the sea level.
The future prospects for Kiribati's young people are dire, but none of them want to leave their home.
I'm so proud to be a Kiribati. Even though what we face with, we're still proud of our country.
This is where we belong. It's our culture, our identities. That's why I think this is where our hearts belong.
The hope is that these mangroves on Ambo Beach will grow into a forest like the one that helps defy storm surges in the south of Tarawa. Protecting the coastline has become a national priority for the people of Kiribati. But there's no coherent plan, and the government lacks the funds for long-term infrastructure measures. Those who can afford concrete have built a wall at their own expense. That's what Itimwemwe has done, a young entrepreneur from the village of Taborio.
I think climate change will only get worse in the future. One day, Kiribati will drown. Other people think differently, but I'm scared by what's happening. We have to protect ourselves. That's why we're building the seawall this high.
The sea is calm today, but it's only a matter of time before the next storm surge arrives. Tarawa is home to around 60,000 people, more than half the country's entire population. Livable land is becoming increasingly sparse, says climate activist Vasiti.
Compared to 10 years ago, it's not just like this. People stayed in their homelands. But nowadays, people migrate from there for a better future. They came here for education, for work, for everything. Yeah, and now it ended up like this. Everyone lived closely to each other.
In addition to climate change, overpopulation is one of the biggest problems on Tarawa.
Diseases easily pass from one person to another, and especially with the future of the kids, the government have a limited resource. It can't employ each and every one of them.
On average, a family here has 5 to 6 children. Almost every square metre of land on Tarawa has now been built on.
The main thing that is threatening us is the sea level rise. We have land erosion. The sea is taking most of the lands, and people here try whatever they have to build seawalls. But it doesn't help. When the water comes, no one can stop the water. It just comes and then take away all the lands again.
In 2014, the effects of global warming on Kiribati attracted international attention. Ioana Tetiota made a bid to become the world's first climate change refugee when he applied for asylum in New Zealand.
The government of New Zealand didn't recognise climate change as grounds for asylum. They didn't think that the people of Kiribati were threatened by nature and forced to flee as a result.
Ioana and his family were deported from New Zealand a year later, even though the situation in their home country has been getting progressively worse. It was a shock for the family.
What scares me is that our land is low-lying. We're surrounded by the sea, and it's being washed away around us.
Ioana and his family have moved in with his sister, but they don't see a future for themselves on Kiribati.
My biggest worry is my children. I want them to be safe. We don't want to wait until the end.
Many people criticise me for trying to be a climate change refugee, saying I'm talking my country down. But I want to leave again. It doesn't matter where we live. Our culture will survive with us.
Kiribati's first inhabitants settled here around 3,000 years ago. The majority came from Southeast Asia and Polynesia. The locals are a proud people who are attached to their traditions. Abayang Atoll, around 50 kilometres to the north of Tarawa, is a different world. It's only sparsely populated. The village of Tibunginako has become a symbol of the impending dangers of climate change. Over the past 20 years, rising sea levels have destroyed Kaboua John's home.
Long time ago, this is the land before. And they used to have manebe here, big house for like gathering people, parties, occasions. And all the people, before they live here, now they all moved to the mainland.
Tebunginako is still home to 70 families. It was the second largest village on Abayang. Rising salinity from daily flooding has made the soil infertile.
Before, I don't care about climate change. When I heard about climate change, and oh, it's nothing. But now, I see the difference, you know, the impact, and it's like worrying me. And I'm thinking, maybe I'm gonna migrate to another Australia or New Zealand, another country, because the sea rising level is increasing. I have 2 kids, and then when I look for the kids, then maybe I should move.
But Kaboua wants to stay. It's not a question of courage. He just feels connected to his home.
We are from Kiribati. We are proud to be Kiribati. We want to die here. We don't want to go to overseas. We want to stay here. When we move, our culture will be disappear.
There are lots of people on Abayang who don't have work. Kaboua is here on behalf of the government. His job is to show people how to make palm sugar. Kaboua is looking for a worker named Takamba. Palm sugar is obtained from the sap, known locally as todi, of the palm blossom. Takamba has to climb to the top of a 20-metre coconut palm to collect it. Takamba has 3 bottles of todi so far. That's enough for now. Kaboua learned how to make palm sugar in Thailand. The government of Kiribati financed his training. The Kiribati government also paid for the equipment here.
This is the todi, fresh one. Water.
Up until now, locals have only used the fresh palm syrup for drinks.
Now we're going to boil the fresh water, the fresh todi. So we want to evaporate those, you know, the water in the todi, so that we can crystallize the todi, become sugar, you know, the solid parts.
The island of Abayang is the perfect place for producing palm sugar. There are thousands of coconut palms across the 37-kilometre island.
In Kiribati, we only have the, you know, cobra cutting as a source of income. So our government try to find ways which can help people like to earn more money, and this is one of the income, you know, income for the farmers.
It takes 7 litres of sap to produce 1 kilogram of palm sugar.
This is how you have to do it. When you've reached this point, the fire mustn't be too hot. You have to stir it the whole time. Watch how I do it. You have to push the todi up the side until it becomes hard and powdery.
The palm sugar from Abayang is set to be sold for €5 per kilo.
We'll continue with this work. We can earn money that way, and we can use that money to feed our families.
Take the big one. This one is really good.
The government has plans to export the palm sugar from Abayang around the world. Kaboua secured important contacts at the World's Fair in Milan in 2015.
This is the sugar from your palm sap. This is what it looks like. Do you want to try it? What do you think of the new sugar? It's not bad, right? Do you like it?
It tastes like candy. This sugar's really different, much more delicious.
Traditional Kiribati recipes are increasingly fading from memory. Women's rights activist and nutritionist Tongafiti Cross wants to fight that trend.
Just to teach them how to eat food and how to prepare food, which is they never do it before. And to using the leaves and the herbs that they have in their own country, and they never use it because they don't know it, that they're eatable.
You can use these palm leaves in many different ways, not just to swat flies. We'll wrap them around the fish. Rip the leaves into two. When you cook these leaves, a liquid comes out that's very good for the stomach. You fold the leaves like this and wrap the fish.
Fish has been prepared like this on Kiribati for generations.
They usually eat right food before, but when the imported food comes, and that's where things has gone wrong. Because in Kaboua, the hospital is full of people, the sick people, and we try to cut down there the people who are sick, and receive the right food, so cut down the lack of vitamins in their food, and not they can't prevent any disease.
You can eat every part of the squash, the flower, the stem, the skin, the seeds. When you cut the squash, make sure you don't cut the slices too thickly. Why do we want a lot of herbs in our soup? All these herbs have medicinal properties. Your bodies take in these herbs and you get healthier. You're not just making a meal, you're also making medicine.
2/3 of Kiribati's population consumes a staple diet of fish and imported rice, a diet increasingly supplemented with high sugar foods, leading to rising rates of obesity and diabetes.
I thank Tongafiti for this cooking class. I know more about cooking now. I have a young daughter at home. I'll cook with a lot of herbs and vegetables now so that she grows up healthy.
Up until now, we've only used these herbs for our costumes. We didn't know you could cook them.
You can find everything she's showing us in the jungle. It's great.
Nutritionist Tongafiti Cross's mission is far from over. She wants to share her knowledge in every village on Abayang. Traditional community centres on Kiribati are called manyeba. The structures provide shade and protection against strong winds and rain. Abayang is home to one of the largest manyebas in the region. The environmental protection organisation KiriCAN has invited representatives from several villages. Together, they're seeking ways to ensure potable water supplies.
So it is so important that we know that water is fresh, water is clean, and water is good for everyone so that we can all live longer as happy Kiribati people.
Climate activist Vasiti is also working to combat the salinisation of drinking water.
Sometimes seawater flows into my well and floods it. All the dirt gets in and we have no water to drink.
Our groundwater used to be fresh and clean. We could drink it. Today it's salty and unpalatable.
The wells near the sea are flooded quite regularly and become spoiled by the salt. If we were to wash with that water, it'd feel like washing in seawater.
The salinity of water supplies isn't the only problem. Supplying clean drinking water is another challenge. Village representatives present their solutions.
We opted for this solar pump. To make it work, we need equipment such as pipes to pump the well water to the houses.
We thought about what would be the best solution for everyone. That's why we chose a desalination plant.
We need a hand pump to supply ourselves with water.
You've suggested a number of ideas. It's important that the solution is cheap and will work for a long time. We're going to lay out all of your criteria on the floor here.
Which solution will win? The village delegates are asked to vote. That's an important part of the process, says KiriCAN's Australian development aid worker, Robert Kay.
This process isn't going to lead us to a project. It's really just getting people to think about the kinds of things, the questions they should be asking when confronted with a new project or a donor bringing aid to the community. There's not much export that comes out of Kiribati, so there's no foreign income coming in, which is difficult because often you need the materials and the money. But I think someone need to break a dependency cycle.
Pelaniza Alofa founded the environmental protection organisation KiriCAN. Her goal is to support the people in Kiribati in their battle against climate change.
In Kiribati, most of the time the priority need for our people is water. And that's why we got water into these communities. The water is their priority. We brought water tanks to collect or to harvest the rain.
Over the next few months, every extended family will be supplied with their own water tank and solar panels to generate electricity, part of a program funded by international aid.
People will be forced to leave if we do not step in right now, today, to help them to adapt, to stay. That's what adaptation is all about, for people to remain in their own homes, in their own, continue with their life and their culture. I wouldn't imagine my people living to another country that is not theirs, because we have a very deep connection with our land. But moving away to somewhere where you do not belong to you, you will always become a second-class person. In your heart, you know that you don't belong there.
We're back on the main atoll of Tarawa. The Marine Training Centre is a window of opportunity to a better life for many young Kiribati. Up to 150 students train here every year to become seafarers, ship mechanics and cooks.
Morning, right?
Morning, sir! How's his front?
The drill at the training centre is strict, as is the morning roll call.
(96:11) and 97:24. Not tucking during the breakfast master. So that's a 1 hour each. 45 F39, long fingernails, 1 hour.
The punishment here in the MPC, this is the scale. So if the trainee is found 30 fingernails, long fingernails, not wearing the handkerchief, torn uniform, etc., in proper shape, that's to be punished. The trainee has to be punished for 1 hour.
The trainees have to rehearse a docking manoeuvre on the deck of a training ship today. Among them is 25-year-old Tamuera.
7 people at the stern and the rest at the sprint, right? So let's start, 2 + 1. Let's go, sprint first.
Seafarers from Kiribati are in demand, particularly on German vessels. 6 shipping companies from Hamburg have offices on Tarawa, supervised by Andrew Heinzen. He holds the locals in high esteem and finds jobs for them on ships from all around the world.
Firstly, the people who grow up on these islands have a strong connection to water. They've been fishing and spending time on the water since childhood. They're strong. In my experience, it takes just one Kiribati to do a job that needs 2 Filipinos. These 15 months are a process. They have to be on time, be clean and well-dressed, because they'll be confronted with a completely different world.
The trainees have to work hard for their dream all week long. The demands are great. Tamuera only sees his wife and 1-year-old daughter at the weekends. He currently shares a dorm room with 19 other sailors.
This is my bed, and that's my mattress, made of palm leaves. I roll out the mattress every night. This is what it looks like. This is how I sleep.
Like this.
That's it.
I chose to train as a merchant marine because it gives me the chance to provide for my family. It's my dream to continue my training after I finish this program.
The training centre has a good reputation on Kiribati, but even this modern complex faces increasing bouts of flooding.
As you can see, the entrance to the basin has become blocked by sand. It built up here overnight because a small section of the seawall has broken. The water was a bit higher than usual, and lacking or insufficient maintenance caused it to break. The current deposited the sand here. People mess about with everything, just like they do in Europe. Driving along this causeway, you can see that the water exchange is restricted to just a small aperture. All the water from the lagoon has to squeeze through it.
Human interference with nature, with disastrous consequences, not least because it's changed ocean currents. The causeway is a costly, never-ending construction site. The primary school in Bonriki. Every morning begins with a prayer. More than 90% of Kiribati's population is Christian. School is compulsory for children between the ages of 6 and 14.
Good morning, boys and girls. Good morning, teacher. Our topic today is based on climate change. Okay, let's hear from the we stand up. What is the meaning of this word, climate change?
The change in weather patterns over a long period of time.
How is climate okay? How it is happen? How it is okay?
Climate change okay from global warming.
Is she right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, these are the 3 causes caused by global warming.
Sea level rise, drought, heavy rain.
So, what does the future hold for Kiribati's children? It's a subject addressed in primary schools.
We want to alert the children to what's going on here and how they can deal with the problem. Most of the children are scared of climate change.
The children's fears differ from those of their teacher, but they're all very concrete. She's scared of the future too.
We can emigrate to another country or confront the problem and live with it. I always tell my students that we have to find ways of preventing soil erosion. We have to build sea walls and plant mangroves. We mustn't cut down our trees anymore.
The children have drawn pictures to illustrate what they think will happen as a result of global warming. Our beaches will be washed away, this boy says. We're using too much fuel. In this girl's picture, the land is submerged. Everyone, she says, is swimming in the water because the ocean has washed away the land. If sea levels continue to rise, she says, we'll all die. These children are growing up with a palpable fear of the future. This girl tells us her home was flooded just last week. It happened while she was sleeping. Her mother woke her up and carried her out of the house. This girl says she's very scared about climate change. She believes many people are responsible for it, but as a child, there's nothing she can do about it. The village of Bonriki has become increasingly susceptible to flooding after heavy rainfall. Often, the high water lasts for days. Trainee seafarer Tamuera and his wife Betaaua have bought a small house here.
We're going to live here in the future. I'm currently living with my wife and my daughter with my parents, but we'll move in soon. Once I've completed my training at the Marine Centre and I'm earning money by working on a ship, I want to start raising my children here. I want to have a garden here, but I have to plough the soil first. I want to build a fence and plant sweet potatoes and tapioca, maybe lettuce too.
As a crew member on a large container ship, Tamuera will be able to earn up to $700 a month. That will place him in Kiribati's middle class.
I'm very excited to be moving here. I'm so proud of him. When he gets a job and starts earning money, we'll be able to build something and have a bigger family. If he didn't have a job, we'd have a lot of problems. We wouldn't be able to lead this life. I'm very happy.
When night falls on Tarawa, the fishermen sometimes recall a centuries-old fishing method. Tearaita and Matayo light a 3-meter torch made of palm leaves on the beach of Tomaiku. The warm light of the fire lures small, tasty reef fish into the shallow water.
It's not like it used to be when there were fewer people here. Population growth has fueled an increase in fishing because of rising demand. Many fishermen now use neon lights to attract fish.
It's rare that Tearaita and Matayo catch any fish with their traditional fishing method these days.
I've only caught a tuaro. It's hard to catch fish these days. I feel the current has changed.
The fishermen wonder whether climate change is to blame for that too. The Fisheries Ministry of Kiribati. Marine biologist Arantei Tekeau has been investigating the health of the coral reefs around Tarawa and the surrounding atolls for more than 10 years. Using measuring tapes, he and his team regularly monitor coral growth and health.
What we are seeing is the more popular corals now are the ones that are adapting and are more resilient to change, to increasing temperature. They're surviving more in the hot temperatures. They're spreading over, which is okay in a sense that the corals aren't dying, they're spreading, there are lots of them. But it's like survival of the fittest.
The Polyps that make up the stony corals are among the winners of climate change. They seem to be particularly happy in the waters around Kiribati.
Because they're so resilient to the change, that's why they're really improving. The coral cover is massive. Even they could even survive, storms and stuff like that.
A hope for Kiribati, but only healthy coral reefs can grow with the rising sea levels. They're natural breakwaters and provide important protection for the islands during major storm surges.
Here in South Tarawa, where it's an urban area, there's a lot of factors affecting coral reefs: construction, infrastructure. The main thing is it is rubbish. Since there's a very high population here in South Tarawa, which causes rubbish and, waste done to the coral reefs, that's putting heavy pressure on it.
As a result, there are signs of degradation among weaker coral species in many reefs around Tarawa. The population is set to double on Tarawa over the next 20 years. Climate coordinator Choi Yeating and the government of Kiribati face a huge challenge.
Unless we find a solution now to address this problem, if we were to top up the land here, sand, and, kind of reclaim it, that may be an option.
The government has even considered moving its people onto artificial floating islands. Futuristic visions and exorbitantly expensive designs by international architects.
It requires a period of constant development, and it's very hard to do with the lack of resources that we have. Science tells us we have a timeline. Something that it's very hard to accept right now.
It may be that in just 50 years, Kiribati will no longer exist. It could be the first country to be wiped off the map by climate change.
There's still hope. Very small window of hope, I guess, yeah. Pride is something that'll keep you going. Maybe the end, not yet for Kiribati, yeah. We still have, there still will be a Kiribati.